It is near enough 7 o'clock, so can I welcome you all to the January FES meeting? Are there any apologies?
And we have apologies from Brian Wilder, but he is attending virtually.
Traffic works. An accident outside the shop.
Item 3, are there any declarations of interest? No. Item 4, the minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday the 7th of December and the one held on Monday the 13th of December. There are 2 lots of minutes. Would someone like to move either one or both sets of minutes? Are there any questions or comments on either of the minutes? No. So could I see all those in favour of those minutes then, please? Thank you. Public forum, there are no public here. There's no one asked to ask a question online or anything, has there? No? Okay. Item 6, exclusion of the public, which just refers basically to the to item 13, which is to private complaints at the end. Yeah. Item 7, financial update. Gina, have you anything to say on these?
Only that it is now looking like we are going to have a surplus at the end of the year, which obviously is good. We can top up earmark reserves, which we previously taken from. Other than that, we've got nothing pending that's out of the ordinary. So, yeah, other than that, I think everything's just going along nicely.
So one question, it's almost linked to what you said there about the fact that some of the budgets, even with the commitments, look a little underspent here and there. I mean, an easy one near the top is alking coats, for example. I'm sure as springtime comes around, we'll come up with new things to do. So are there going to be any special sort of activities in February, March, etc., as we approach year end to use up some of the budgets, or do we just think, well, let's park those and leave them for next year and roll it out then instead?
There are plans. I mean, with the Alkin coats, we've been looking at signage in the park, which needs some investment to redo all that. Obviously, there is the fencing, which has mainly been put in for next financial year. However, if we get the ball rolling on that before, then there are items. There's a lot of clearing going along, so skip hire, that kind of thing. So there are things planned before the end of the year that will use some of the budget up. But like I said, it's looking like there will be surpluses in certain areas.
Has anyone else got any questions?
Just a question on fencing. When you say fencing, does that include the fencing round the mugger?
I know they have been looking at the fencing around the mugger. They have done temporary repairs up to now, which they are still assessing. They haven't got any worse. I know Eugene's been looking at a catalogue of items that the lensmen have stated that of equipment that they may need to find a solution for a more permanent repair.
It's just that on the, I suppose it's the north side of it, where it meets the surface, it curls up all the way. That was a bit I particularly noticed because I parked near it, but I think we need to have a proper, I know we, with the best of intentions, put that chain link fencing in there to stop the noise. But I think in retrospect, that has caused different problems that perhaps we didn't fully appreciate. There have been 2 or 3 big holes punched in it. Why, I don't know, because it's not difficult to get in and out of. I think it's just pure mischief and vandalism. But I think we need to do what we can to secure what's there. But I think we need a proper look to see whether there's something a bit more permanent we can do to stop it. To stop it repeating, and because it's the same, it seems to be the same parts and the same problems again and again. I've not looked. This was, what are we now? Last month, not yesterday. A week ago, yesterday. The part of the north near the entrance was particularly, I don't know, that far off.
I do agree that the mugger fencing does need looking at. I think the problem has been because it was, when it's the same as the tennis court fencing. However, in a tennis game, it doesn't get that much battering from a tennis ball. However, obviously with a football, it's different, and it does. So obviously that has had an effect on it.
When the fencing was replaced, it was highlighted that this isn't a stronger fencing. It isn't actually kids kicking footballs against it. It's people taking metal cutters to it and vandalising it that's the issue. We have inspected it previously when the holes you first reported, and they'd been cut. So it's, I wouldn't even say that's kids' mischief. It's willful vandalism on it. I know it's something you're looking at to a more permanent fixture for it. However, short of ripping it down and replacing all the fencing, the post fittings aren't necessarily appropriate and you're anchoring for other fences, which is why it's taking a bit longer to investigate what the options are. Unfortunately, someone did decide that metal cutters were a good idea. It's not the only one we've had this issue on. We've had it on other playgrounds where they've taken actual tools to the play equipment. Anti-vandal screws that have been removed and things like that on swings. It, unfortunately, is something that we are suffering with. It goes in waves. It's quietening down now. You'll probably find summer holidays or whatever will increase it again. But it is one of those that it's just taking a bit of looking at, if that helps. It probably doesn't help at all, but it does just clarify that although it is getting a football kicked against it, it should withhold that. What it won't withhold is people taking cutters to it, unfortunately.
I suspect the bit that's at the bottom is footballs. And one of my thoughts was if that was sort of doubled up, not to the height where it'll, but yeah, you know. Anyway.
Last time I looked at it, I think there is another problem with it as well. in some places it's coming up from the bottom, nearly looking as though someone's tried to pull it up to crawl under it. And I think possibly in some places, and it's probably a job that Mark could do, and that would be to maybe get some steel or aluminium or whatever and get some angle section and fasten it, bolt it down to the floor and fasten it properly. And that could be done at the same time as where you want to double it up to strengthen it, for say bottom metre or something like that. It could be all done at once, couldn't it? And bolt it down to the floor. And it'd be less of an expense if we get our 2 landsmen to do it rather than getting someone in to do the job, because it'd only be sort of materials then, wouldn't it? So I would suggest that as a way forward to look at. So are there any other comments on any of these 3 finance matters, A, B or C? No? Would someone like to move them? We'll move them en bloc if we want. Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 8, Cong Town Council Corporate Risk Assessment. Now this is a nightmare.
I will say the only areas that have changed are the ones that are in purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you picture the scene, I've had over 2 hours sitting in Burnley Hospital car park with the mother-in-law waiting to have her eye drops sorted out. So I had nothing to do but look through this in quite a lot of detail. There you go. But no, I think obviously we had a good go at this in last year and the year before, etc. So I think there's not a huge amount that I need to comment on. Nothing on page 1 at all. Because the only thing for all of them, you've got the person who's the owner, town clerk / RFO / ACO, etc., etc. Given your new role, are you wearing 2 hats? As in, this is an RFO hat and this is a town clerk hat, or is this just you?
It will still be necessary for me to split the duties. Obviously, highlight what is RFO and what is town clerk. But yeah, in essence, it's yeah.
Number 5. Slump in sector/economy. I think that scope of the risk, we have things obviously COVID, pandemic, lockdown, etc. In terms of what we've done about it, the first purple box, you could say obviously follow government guidance, one thing. And also the other thing we're doing as a town council, we're liaising with all the various stakeholders. So we know we have people that shop commerce, we know we have people wedding or whatever. So liaising with those in order to address, they suddenly say we've got a problem or we need to sort something out, then that kind of thing. Got a small typo on the 3rd row, by the way. Second word.
Yeah. Number 5.
Number 5.
So yeah, so we're mitigating by following government guidance and mitigating the process. I think on the tolerance of that, the other thing to bring out as well, I've just gone through the finance. In a way, the idea of businesses in the private sector or people having problems with whatever, we're largely isolated because 89% of our income comes from recruitment. So even if one or the other ones fell off a cliff, it's not a catastrophic event for us as a council or our finances. So I think it's mitigated by, tolerated by the fact that the bulk of our income comes from recruitment. It is 89.3%. So I would suggest possible scoring on that one. I wouldn't say impact 3, I would say impact 2, but I would say likelihood is not 2 and 3. So the rate of total is still 6, but I would probably 6 those around. beyond our text. So that's that one. Number 6, loss of resources. I know we've got one a bit later about key stuff as well, but I suppose you could say, given that we have had a loss of a town clerk, a promotion of somebody else, then possibly in that first box you might want to put in that we have had changes in senior staff. So obviously that has happened. I think we do mitigate it by that first purple box. We do identify staff training needs. So if we think we're going to re-roll training needs, then we've got Phil Gessel, lots of things to go through, and any other sort of personal skills courses, and they can be brought into play there. So I've put training in there, and I'll also put training in the end box as well about the controls. I'm not keen on the word externalise in the end box there. I'll probably go for outsource.
Okay.
Nothing else on that page. Number 9, again, we can pat ourselves on the back here, that purple box in number 9. We should also say, as well as our budget management, the fact that we do prudent budgeting, we do look at all the costs, look at those and say, let's put it in contingency, let's put some wiggle room here. So we do prudent budgeting. And we have a 3-year scope as well, so we have looked at 3 years as well. I think that gives us a good idea of not lurching from one thing to another. We're able to look ahead and plan to do the exercise and
We do have a separate financial risk register which goes into the finances in much more detail. That's why it's less included in this one.
I would also say we do have a separate pandemic risk register as well, which is again why it's not in detail in here.
Okay, so bottom of the page there, number 12, loss of key staff. I think in the first purple box we can also say that we've obviously looking at recruitment, got a couple of job adverts out there now, and we do also do some outsourcing as well, partnering with the accounting firm, etc., and we've got a bit of HR advice as well.
This tends to be not as specific. We are currently recruiting for a general year. This is how we deal with it. So you wouldn't tend to put we're doing this right now.
No. But if we lost key staff, we would look at recruitment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is this done in Excel, by the way? Is this done in Excel, this document? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 17, financial pressures. Again, linking back to what we talked about earlier, in that first thing about how the risk is managed. We've got all these saving plans, cost reductions, etc. But again, it might be worth noting whether it's there or somewhere on that line about the precept being 89% of our income. In 18, one below, tiny typo in the how risk is managed, bottom line, monitoring using professional bodies. There's one. That's it on that page. Number 21, the first big purple box. Oh, another little tiny typo there. 2, 4, 5th line down in the middle. Can't read it. Got that?
Where is that? Have you got it? Yeah.
Oh, can't read the word in this light, eh? Terrible. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Other than that, no other comments, no changes in scoring. I think the blues is still the only one that hangs about there. But obviously if we outsource it to the Going Blue Society or do whatever next year, then it could be off our radar to a large degree. Other than that, yeah, I'm fine. So I'm happy to move, we accept that, unless anyone's got any other comments.
Any more comments on it? Would someone like to second it? Yeah. Can I ask all those in favour? Thank you. Now the next one, the item number 9, the recruitment update. I should have spotted it earlier. I'm mindful that had we have moved this item until after we had removed the public and press, we could possibly have given members a more thorough update as to what the situation is. So, do we want to leave the item where it is and do it now, or do we want to move it until after we have removed the public and press?
I think move it to the end.
Yeah. But the job advert's closed now?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah.
But obviously something I might say,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
if we're live,
No, I agree. Let's move it to the end then.
right. So, all those in favour of that course of action then? Thank you. Right. Item 10, Town Hall maintenance.
Just as a quick update, the clock repairs are due to take place from the 25th of this month. So I believe Councillor Coburn-Price has just made us aware the clock is 4 minutes fast. Is that right at the moment? So I'll get that looked at. The chimes, hopefully you'll have by the second week in February. Again, it's just one of those, we unfortunately had a delay on the parts, and then COVID has stuffed us a bit with contractors being able to work. In regards to the end office room where we had water ingress halfway in a new place on a build, that seems to have mostly stopped, bar a random patch in the middle of a wall. So I was due to go up in a cherry picker before Christmas, but then unfortunately we had some nice storms. I have chased it again this week. I'm hoping in the next week so I can get up. I have a feeling that you're going to find an inch of pointing out, because where it is on the wall isn't a normal place for it. However, we are pushing through on that. They're going to take the plaster off and get it dried where the new damp patch is and replaster it, because that is quicker than leaving it on and trying to dry it as is. Might also help us source the leak. The room next to it sprung another leak before Christmas, which managed to go through 2 floors. This could also be the source of our original leak in the first room we're working on, because it looks like it's leaked before and some very sensible person put plastic sheeting between the lowered ceiling and the original ceiling, which would be a wonderful help on water tracking. So although we are looking at you have an underspend on your budget, you've got another leak, which has gone through this floor down to the office below. Now, at the moment, that has stopped until I can get up to the right height to look at it. There's not a lot we can do. So I am pushing on that one. But that will mean your next room project has been decided for you. It is another of the ones that had the lowered ceilings in that you were looking at removing anyway. So it would have been that or about 1 of 2 others. So it's just going to be progression. The aim is to get your first room completed, and then you can move the furniture you're storing in there into the new room and work your way through. I have been in discussions, Gina is fully aware of it, and to get a contractor out to come and inspect and see if they can give us an idea of what it's going to cost to do pretty much the same we've done in the other one, which is remove the lowered ceiling, restore any damage to the coving, and restore it. So, but unfortunately, it's another leak. So you've got, in essence, one that seems to be sorted, and I do think it is tracking water, because plastic sheeting between a lowered ceiling and is just going to do that. We're working through it. There is some pointing on the front of the building at ground level that doesn't look very good at the moment that's coming out. We've got the stuff to do it, and we have staff in-house that are experienced in graded listed pointing. So when they get the weather that is appropriate, they will be doing that as well. It also means that if we go up in a cherry picker and discover it's a little bit of pointing missing, we can actually do it in-house. As long as it's not a scaffolding job, it's something we can bring in-house, which should hopefully keep the costs down, but it's an ongoing. Anything I've missed or any questions? No, I haven't invested in a lot of umbrellas for the staff.
No more questions? Okay, so can we note that update then? Item 11, items for a future month's agenda. Does anyone have any particular items they want bringing forward in the future? No. Item 12, date and time of the next regular meeting. It's Tuesday, the 1st of Feb. So can someone now move exclusion of the public? Okay. Those in favour?